beautiful, most gifted. She's so gifted. I don't want to give the super long intro. Really gifted.
Thank you.
It's
I'm great.
our secret weapon. How are you, Ani?
I'm great. I'm great. I have a mini presentation on astrology here with for
Did you
about
make
the.
any? Did you make any
I
lettuce?
did. I did. I took a little profit today on XRP, but I didn't dip into my original bags I got from
You
what
better
I
quantum
accumulated from the airdrops. So it's all profit. And I also
money.
sold one of my Townstar NFTs for a good chunk.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm all about taking those profits. And hello, what date is it today? Actually, the equinox is today. I thought it was yesterday because I have no concept of what day it is ever. But I thought yesterday was today. But yeah, the equinox is today. And what have you and I been talking about for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months? End of September. By the end of September, there's gonna be a pump. It's
It's
happening.
documented. We've been talking.
We have the receipts. We have the receipts.
Do we need to go over the? Yeah, we have. It's yes. We've been calling this mini pump mainly based on intuition because
With me, I kept getting there's a pump coming. I know it doesn't look like it, but there's a pump coming. So, and then I look into the astrology and how it is right now. It's kind of like we'll get into that, but it's kind of flip a coin time. But I don't know. I'm not saying it's not gonna go down. Obviously, it will, but for the timing, it's
yeah.
happening.
For those that are new, many of you, for those that are new and will maybe see this later, we are major. We implement not only your traditional TA and your traditional type of investment strategies and thesi. I don't know, but thesis. But we also mix in the esoteric. We mix in astrology, numerology, gematria because it works. We can back test it.
Don't
Okay.
forget that sacred G.
Sacred geometry. Okay. Golden ratio, Fibonacci's. It's written in the code. We decode the code to add to our traditional, indicators and moving averages and such. And we are successful. So when Ani and I are talking about we've felt this mini pump for months now, it's documented and it's happening. Now, I don't want to get into the bad news. I don't want to be duality. It's not good or bad. It just is.
It is.
This weekend could be interesting. I'm gonna before I get into that, I'm gonna let Ani. We're gonna go to the astrology corner. It's a segment that we're gonna have every week because this is not boring times in astrology. This is exciting times. So, and then we'll get into what from my opinion, of major devastation coming, despite whatever you hear of in your twits, in your tweeters or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, without further ado. Ani, are you ready?
I'm ready. I got my notes.
I'm going to mute my mic. And for everyone that complains that I interrupt Ani all the time, I have a pocket on my.
Somebody put a stopwatch. Let's see how long this can hold out for. All right. So I wanted to talk about the closing Saturn square Uranus that's happening. And it's the last one, and I was hoping magic actually, because I wanted to check on the 3 dates that there were 3 of these squares of these Saturn Uranus squares that happened in 2021.
Yep.
And I have the dates and the exact degrees, so I don't know if that's something maybe you can pull up the charts to see what was happening on those around that, because it's never exact with the eclipse. It doesn't necessarily bring the change like boom, like the same day, but around those dates. So we had these 3 exact squares, and during those times, these dates I'm about to give you, that's when we really started feeling a lot of pressure in different ways, because Saturn is restriction and authoritarianism and difficulties, and Uranus is change, right? But Uranus isn't in its best placement in Taurus, where Saturn is pretty strong in Aquarius. And again, Saturn is authority and Aquarius rules the group, society, the masses of people. So we certainly saw restrictions happen immediately when Saturn went into Aquarius in 2020. So the 3 dates, Magic, if you're ready.
Yeah, I got a pen and a piece of paper.
Okay, the first one, the first Saturn-Uranus square was exact on February 17th, 2021. And it happened at 7 degrees of Aquarius and Taurus, respectively, both. The second one took place June 14th, 2021 at 13 degrees. That's the day after is when I left Miami, because this was happening in my 4th house of home and my 1st house of myself. Pretty crazy. Third one took place December 24th, 2021 at 11 degrees. So I was just curious to see what the financial charts, the crypto charts look like around those times, and if those degrees play any role in gematria or anything like that. So
can you go over the degrees again? I just wrote the dates down.
sure. The first one, the February 17th, it was at 7 degrees.
Okay.
The second one was at 13 degrees. And the third was at 11 degrees because they were retrograde.
Cool. I'll whip up a quick little chart.
All right, awesome. So this one that's taking place, it's not exact, but it has a 1 degree orb, which is a 1 degree difference. Saturn's at 19 degrees Aquarius and Uranus is at 18 degrees Taurus. But it's still pretty tight. That's a tight orb, right? So that's the closing square. And I had heard before that, how we've talked about these Saturn Uranus conjunctions, oppositions, squares, how they determine whether a market, the launch of it, and then when it booms and when it goes down. But I had heard from, what's his name, he's an astrologer, Sama. He was saying that the last closing square presents an opportunity for like a pump, which corresponds with also what's happening now. I came across him, this was, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago. So now, on top of everything, the eclipses are coming, right? So these eclipses are happening in the financial houses of Taurus and Scorpio. So the market's definitely going to be rocky with both eclipses. The first one is October 25th. It's the solar eclipse in Scorpio, and it's with Venus. Venus rules money. But Venus is in detriment in Scorpio. Venus doesn't like to be Scorpio. It doesn't like to be in Scorpio. And the lunar eclipse is happening in Taurus, which is the other money house. Conjunct, meaning together with that North Node Uranus conjunction that's happening. And all of that is squaring Saturn in Aquarius, which is a hard aspect. So the beginning of November is going to be rough. Rough. So that's why I'm taking profits now. Because it's not going to be pretty. Now, here's the wild card. This is the thing. And this is why, when Uranus does what you don't expect it to do, it's always something out of left field. And it's with the North Node, the direction. I've talked about this before, but I'm just kind of rehashing to remind everyone because it's hard to remember the shit. Uranus is a loose cannon and the North Node is the direction that everything is going in. So that's a wild card. And to my point is that everyone's been talking about, the market's going down, the market's going down. Yes, it will at some point, but that Uranus is going to bring the unexpected. And that also ties into this. But with the eclipses, it's going to be rough to bring something positive. It just looks like, it's going to be rough, like I said. So there's going to be a lot more down with this in terms of like food shortages, because Taurus rules farming and there's just a lot. There's just a lot. Uranus is involved, so energy. Saturn is squaring it. So again, authority is gonna try to block or withhold energy, which is, expected, as we know, this winter, especially in Europe. Now, next year, all the outer planets, or the big ones, the big players, or the ones that have like difficult planets, are all gonna be changing signs. So Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then a little later on Jupiter are all going to be changing signs. So that's going to bring major, major changes with money and with finance. Okay. When Pluto dips into Aquarius, that is definitely, and it's going to go in 2023. Shit, I don't have the exact date and I always forget because there's so many transits happening and there's so much going on. I forgot to write that down. But Pluto's going to dip into Aquarius briefly, and then it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn before it fully ingresses into Aquarius in 2024. But once Pluto goes into Aquarius, there's going to be insane changes, guys. Like with everything from AI, that's when I think, like digital currencies are really going to like take hold. And a lot of changes in technology, like stuff we can't even imagine. Like I don't even know, but it's stuff that's really out there, So we're gonna catch a taste of what that transit of Pluto and Aquarius is gonna be. I think it's like 20 years of what that's gonna be like once it dips in 2023. Even though it's gonna be brief, we're gonna start seeing what's coming with that. So yeah, one thing that I want to mention, that I've been on this tangent for a long time, and the North Node in Taurus, it's still going to be there for probably about another year or so. Taurus is also skills, like things you know how to make. And so it's going to be super important to develop any kind of skills, any kind of manual, anything that you do with your hands. So any skills, carpentry, gardening, anything creative, super important to develop as many as you can, or at least, master a couple. So yeah, that's my little astro forecast. So yeah, I was wondering if you're able to find anything magic on those dates with the charts.
Yeah, I mean, I plotted those dates on the chart. I can kind of share my screen and we will look at it together. And then I also pulled up the natal charts for all those dates as well.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Let me see if I can't share. I should be sharing now. Oh, there we go. So this is those first three squares mapped over Bitcoin. Can't quite hear you guys.
Oh, we're not saying anything.
Okay. Yep. So one of them looked like it was like a exaggerated peak, and then the other one was like a pronounced bottom. This one is not accurate. So it's these three.
Okay.
So for February 17th, this one is the natal chart for that.
It's a lot of squares.
Yeah. Everything's squared almost.
Yeah.
Couple sextiles, but
Yeah.
then
Mars trine Pluto. And was the market up? It's hard for me to see it on the screen, like the line.
yeah, it actually was up on that date right here. But all those squares caused it to correct and come down right here.
Right after. Okay.
Yep. And then this would be the second during our little bear market period of 2021.
Moon opposite Saturn, Pluto opposite Mars, Sun square Neptune. That Neptune, man. Nothing's what it seems with Neptune and Pisces. Okay.
Yep. And then this is
Uranus square in a couple of, yeah, it's like a T square with Uranus there.
Yep. I see it.
With Saturn and the Moon.
Yep. Saturn, Moon, Uranus.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, the Saturn Uranus square is there. Okay.
Yep. And then that was this one right here. Then this last square right here, right before this next one coming up, this is the natal chart for that. So a couple trines mixed in. Another big T square with Jupiter, the Moon, and Mars.
Yeah. Jupiter opposite the Moon. What's Venus doing? I don't see it.
Venus is right
Pluto.
here.
With Pluto.
Yep. Conjunct Pluto.
And that went down after that?
Correct. Yep.
It seems the big moves happened either before or after. I don't know how many days, or if that's a week, or if that's like how long, but
These are daily candles right here.
Okay. So by the time it took that big dip there, how long did that? Because
well, it stayed balanced for a few days after that square, and then 3 or 4 days after, that's when it started to plummet. It went down around 36% to the bottom.
And the previous ones were also like a few days, because that's what I mean. The eclipses aren't like, the stuff doesn't happen exactly on the date, but it seems to follow.
Especially with these larger aspects, I've been noticing is that they get fine tuned by like the smaller cycles, like the moon, for example, and like Mercury. Did you follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's like a larger planet, one of the outer planets, it's not exactly to the date. It gets fine tuned by the smaller planets.
Right. I see what you mean.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just curious what the charts were doing around those squares. But we're seeing what it's doing now.
Yeah.
But it will be short-lived. It's not looking like a long.
Oh, that's for sure. Today we broke a pivotal point on the Dow. It was only a wick.
Yeah.
Ended up close, like right here, this little peak right here. Breaking that structure is a big deal. Very big deal.
And didn't the NASDAQ like just barely miss it? I think it was the 200.
I didn't check the NASDAQ yet.
Moving average. I heard it just barely.
Well, I'm not so concerned about the 200s, to be honest with you. On the weekly, I guess maybe. Yeah, this barely came down and tapped into it. But like more so like the overall structure of the S&P and the Dow. Like breaking this line, this is the end of a parabolic rally is when you start breaking the previous resistance. If that makes sense. Because due to Elliott wave structure, like for Elliott waves, you have like a 1, 2, 3. See how this four can't go below the 1. That's what classifies an impulsive move, right? Once you start going below that 1, that's how you know you're in a larger corrective wave. So that's why holding this level 29,500 for the Dow is so crucial. It's because it invalidates us as still being in a corrective in an impulsive move to the upside. Like you'll notice when bubbles pop, they always keep going up and up and up, and they never come back and break the prior resistance. They always hold it as support, and then once they do break that resistance, just like this, that's when the bubble's 100% pops, and then it cascades usually to the downside. But this was only just a wick on the daily candle, so we it's not 100% invalidated just yet, but closing below this line for sure on the weekly candle would be a pretty big deal. And we got very close, within 90 points today on the Dow today. So definitely gave a lot of people some anxiety for sure about that.
I guess we'll see what happens Monday when Shemitah's over, right? On Monday. It's also
Yeah, you know what though? The
Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, the DXY got up to its 1.618 extension. So that could potentially mean that we, like, see right here. Now it's showing 114, but 113 is what we've been calling for the DXY to hit for a long time. And we basically almost bounced into that today. So this could be like kind of like a little crystal ball that we're getting ready for like a bull trap to form in the stock market and other major indices. If that makes sense, like kind of like how crypto got a little pump when Tether bounced into its retracement levels, like right up here. Like this 618 right here, once Tether came back up and bounced off of that, that's how we knew Bitcoin was going to get a little bit of a bounce. Same thing with the DXY and the Dow Jones. So it could be somewhat of a little bit of a bottom, hopefully. But regardless, it's not looking good long term. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Cool. Thank you for looking that up.
Yeah, I mean, XRP is looking good. Quick little XRP analysis. Got up to 56 today. Woo.
Yep.
RSI on the daily got only up to 75. This thing goes way higher than that. So it looks like we're not done just yet.
Woohoo!
Fingers crossed, not financial advice. On the weekly, there's plenty of room to go on the weekly. Not looking like it's out of gas just yet. Well, I didn't mean to turn this into the magic show.
No, that was awesome. Thank you for doing that.
No doubt.